So this is the Robson Botanical Garden video in summer of 2024. It is like 80 degrees and the humidity feels like it's 100%. I'm sure it's not. But this is the gardens in the summertime. We're kind of in a little bit of a drought right now, but most of the summer stuff has started to bloom. And we were at Garden Treasures yesterday and the Raleigh Market and got some new plants, which are not planted yet. The lavender is in full bloom. We have two varieties. They're the only ones that have survived. And all the marigolds are planted. You can see our Rose of Sharon's planted, and I forget what this is, but this is just about to bloom. Oh, this one already is blooming. It's a summer bloomer, heavy summer bloomer. The Don Juan rose is not blooming right now. It actually may bloom again in the fall. Luke's done really well with the roses. All the butterfly bushes are all in bloom, like all in bloom. All of the bee balm, all of the salvia. This is our massively large overspilling and kind of past its prime. It's one of the old style hydrangeas. We only ever get to see it bloom every couple of years because it only blooms on old wood, and at this point it really needs to be cut back. All the heuchera are in full color now. Some of the spring stuff is already out. There's the Rose of Sharon. This is one of the few things that survived that we actually kept because it kept on blooming, and that's one that we cut down. It's basically as a perennial. We cut it down every year. Some of the abelias are in full bloom. These are the only two sunshine ligustrums that we have that survived in the front yard. They have not really held up well to the heavy-duty sun down here. And all of the Mexican petunias have started. All of our daylilies are out. The gladiolas are kind of past their prime. We have two new rosy glow barberries that Luke's going to plant tonight. All the snapdragons are up. All of Luke's drift roses are back in bloom again. This is their second blooming. You can see we still have some of the roses that are they'll actually pop back up and bloom later on. But these drift roses, Luke just got them as a project. He's actually been able to propagate them, and they have just turned out gorgeous. And all of the lantana is back in bloom. This is the only type of lantana that survives here because we're actually too far north for most of the lantanas. But we got this from Ladybug Garden, and she swore up and down that it would actually bloom, and it has. Kind of a surprise. More Mexican petunias and our zebra grass. That's the Confederate rose. This is one of the yuccas that Luke saved from our neighbor's yard. That's the baby that he just literally stuck in the ground. And obviously it's done really well. The pampas grass is not in bloom yet, but it's probably going to be blooming within the next week or so. These are Fothergilla that are grafted. This one's actually grafted onto a trunk, as is that one, and then that's the main shrub. That's another one that's grafted onto a trunk. More abelia that are also in bloom. These are the cherry trees, which didn't do that great last year, but I think they finally rooted in and they're doing really well now. And it is hydrangea time. There's some of our cardinals. We have a bunch of cardinals. We've had to come back some of these abelias because they got a little too aggressive. This is a evergreen that was real tiny, like last year. Really tiny. And then these have finally bloomed. I forget what they're called. Luke's going to be pulling out all of the pansies that we've had. This is one of our hydrangeas. It's a paniculata. It's huge. This also started out a couple of years ago as a little itty bitty tiny shrub. And we also have blooms on some of our hostas. That we have giant elephant ears here. We've had to pull them out several times because they've really just gotten too big. And here's another hydrangea that's also in bloom, as well as our bird baths. We've been trying very hard to keep them watered, which right now is very difficult. And these are the gold dust acubas. This is where our 18-year-old cat Ori likes to hang out. So not as much in bloom as regular, but you can see the Asian garden has really done well. We lost just a couple of plants, some really small plants. These right here, that's a type of Korean fir, and we have 3 of those, and they did awesome. You can see the little tiny baby pine cones on these. We did lose one of the plants. We have 2 more storks. And the ginkgo trees are growing actually really well. There's another one of those Korean firs. Those came from Camellia Forest. And we are absolutely going to be watering today because it's really hot already. You can actually see some of the hydrangeas that are sort of wilting, even though he watered them heavily on Friday. And then those hydrangeas he put in last year, and they've done really well. They didn't really do that great last year. They were okay, but nothing like they've done this year. And then we expanded this bed out, partially to take up more lawn and partially to give more room for plants. This is a variegated red pine that we found. We've never seen one before. We found it yesterday at the farmer's market of all places in Raleigh. So I decided we were going to get it because it's really cool. I've never seen anything like that. And all of the canna lilies are all blooming. Some of the day lilies are blooming, but they're getting close to being spent as far as the heat goes, and they will come back later. We have a new stork. Actually, I think he's a pelican. We added some white to Jackson's Pond here to kind of bring it out and make it look a little bit, and make it stand out a little bit more. And we also got some blooming jasmine that we're going to put in. This is aloe. This is a type of aloe. Haven't really grown that much down here, but everybody swears up and down that it actually will survive. This is euphorbia. And they have really cute little leaves, little tiny leaves. And everything growing here is doing really well. Our water bill just about equals our power bill right now, which is fairly common for us. All of our Japanese maples are growing well. You can see, looks like we got one that didn't do so well. And this is a variegated maple tree. And then this is our concrete walkway. We had this concreted, and these lights actually have holes in them. And at night, they actually project the pattern onto the concrete. It's really neat to walk out here at night. And today we're actually going to be putting up a new set of solar lights around the porch because the other ones are 4 or 5 years old. And even changing out the batteries hasn't helped. So time to do something else with these guys. We have some new ferns that are going to go in the back. And all of our hibiscus trees now are also in bloom. We moved a lot of the sunshine ligustrum back here because they weren't doing well in the front yard, and they've all really perked up very nicely. And then this has not gone into bloom yet. I'm not really sure why. My guess is because we didn't cut it back last year. And the Laura petalums, they're done. You can see what's left on this one. This thing was huge, and is just covered with flowers. These flowers, the average size of these things is bigger than my hand. And then we have a new witch hazel tree. That's also another witch hazel tree. And then this is one we've cut back a little bit. It's one of the old style camellias, but still doing pretty well. And you can see that This is a type of wisteria. It has little purple bells on it. It's beautiful. I'd love to find another type. And then we have new vines growing up here. One of them is doing really well. And all of our canna lilies. And we now have 4 fountains. Oh, there comes Grim. And we have 1 fountain down here. And none of the fountains are running right now. I've got to fill them back up and make sure that they all have stuff. I hear you, Grim. But this is what you can see right now. And it is our own little slice of paradise in the middle of downtown, well, in the city of Fayetteville.